non più tra i farfalloni amoroso, notte e giorno di torno girano, delle belle turbando al riposo, Narcisetto.
Morning all, we are off to Cheshire today. First time we've been out on the RBR for a while. The weather was said to be better than expected, and largely it has been that. There's been a lot more sunshine, but there has been a few spots of rain. It's a very straightforward run really, or it can be, and it's not that easy to mix it up to make it a bit different. The A41 of course is quite a popular road. There's roadworks on it today, but it is a decent road. There are some dual carriageway bits, so that keeps it going. But it was a case of either go up the A41 north of Wolverhampton from the West Midlands today, or could cross country and go up the A442, not far from Kidderminster, all the way up through Bridge North, which was its usual bind, and head up through to Sutton Maddock, around Telford, carry on the 442 till you're at the A53, and in doing so, going up the A442, we stopped at the Long Lane Cafe, a few miles or so north of Telford. Good sandwich apart from the egg being hard fried. Not quite as good as my last visit though. The toilets do need some attention. They are quite rustic. They were last time, but even more so now. So not bad, and the tea's pretty good, but if you've got health issues and you can't eat certain things, it's a bit of a bind, because if you want a set breakfast like the large breakfast or the medium breakfast or whatever, it says on the board no changes to set breakfasts, which means if you buy stuff individually it's going to cost you more, I dare say. Anyway, I digress. We've come off the A41 to try and get a quiet spot to do a piece to camera, which I like to do when I can, but it's far too windy. Right, well, get on with it. We are off to Cheshire, as I said, and your clue for this one is water power here since 1200 AD. Water power here since 1200 AD, and we've got about 20 miles to go. Just doing this one today because it was going to be part of another ride, a big ride up through Cheshire, of course, if we'd have kept this one in it, and then on up to Greater Manchester, Merseyside, where was it? Then it was Lancashire, Lake District, just into Yorkshire, north east, back down into Yorkshire and Lincolnshire before heading back to the West Midlands. Now that ride, at the moment, apart from this one bit, is likely to take place in around 3 weeks' time. It's currently early July, so towards the end of July. I was trying to do that ride before the kids were off school, but I just couldn't fit it in. So we're going to do that. That was the plan, to do all of that, but today, because this ride is the next local one, if you like, to me. Not that it's that local, of course, because it's something like 75 miles from home to here, and of course 75 back. And it probably is going to be a similar route back, although I'll probably just go straight down the A41. Yeah, try and mix it up as best as possible, but there ain't many options for this. I don't want to use motorway, oh, that'd be M6, so cut across, nah. So overall it's been alright once we got to Bridge North really. The usual Muppets doing, like, I don't know, 37 in a 60, that was one. And I suppose, well, certainly north of Telford I don't do the A442 very often. Here we are at Midway truck stop, amongst other eateries. That would have been an option, but I thought I'd try Long Lane just to be a bit different. I've been here once this year. Well, I mean, what a road surface, or no road surface. But that is a good one. Midway truck stop, very good one. Good grub there. This is likely to be, potentially anyway, Michaela's last RBR outing of the year because she is due a service, and I can't get her in anywhere at the moment. Too busy. Plus people don't want to mess around for 2 days checking the valves. A big job really, a time-consuming job I should say, if you have a Desmo valve setup, which of course Michaela does. That's one thing you've got to think about if you're having a Ducati. A lot of places, well, I say a lot, there's some places, let's say, because I can't say for all, don't want to do anything on them really in the way of engine work. The local one by me, and oh, that's another bruise. The local one by me, blimey, can you leave roads like that? Oh, just put a bit of white paint around it and make it alright. Ooh, right. Yeah, my local place where I've most of my MOTs done and buy the odd bits and pieces, you know, consumables, sprays and things. He's a good chap, but he says he don't touch Ducatis. Nothing on engine work on Ducatis, which I sort of understand. I suppose you could check the how can I put it? I suppose you could say, alright then, you know, what's you going to do with Ducati? Oh well, send me other bikes. Yeah, it could go that way. I haven't, but I would blame somebody, and that's just one place, and I bet there'll be more. But there is a dealer about 20 miles away, but they don't gear a courtesy bike overnight, unfortunately, or not yet. They don't. That's Ducati Worcester, which is under new ownership. Or rather, I should say, under its original ownership. Now that, what was it, completely motorcycles went bust earlier this year. A41, you see we're only 18 miles from Chester. Ah, we're just good into Cheshire, look. Welcome to Cheshire. And some decent-ish road surface, even though it's only really gravel chucked down on top. As we're on the A41, I'll give you a bit of my biking history, if you like. One of the ride-outs I did back in around 1996. I had a Triumph Sprint, a Hinckley Triumph Sprint. That's one made in Hinckley, not in Thailand or wherever they're made now, at vast expense. Although it wasn't cheap then, it was $6.5 grand. 1,500 miles on the clock when I had it, and it was like new. I dropped it 24 hours later, a broken indicator. But there used to be, and still is, with a certain Triumph club I used to be in, the Landmark Challenge. Not unlike what we do on the Round Britain Rally, except as far as I know, it's only for Triumphs. Can't find anything on it to suggest that you could do it on other machines. I did have a look a few weeks ago. But back in about 96, on a Sunday in September, I was bored. And this was before I had internet, and internet was probably in its infancy really. So you couldn't do your searches for the places online like we mostly do now. It entailed going to the library and looking at their selection of Ordnance Survey maps, or of course buying your own. Well, I had a few maps, but I thought, nah, I'll wing it. And I did one of the locations on the way up on the Sunday, the Shroppy Fly pub. That's a fair few miles back down the A41. I'd still got another one to do, and I couldn't quite work it out. And long story short, I ended up at Wallasey, thought it was the lighthouse there, up near Birkenhead, or just past Birkenhead really. Well, I got home, I don't know, about 7 o'clock at night, and I realised I got it completely wrong, and it was this, oh, I forget the name of it, it's called a fort, this presumably concrete structure, at Birkenhead I think it was, right at Birkenhead, right on the bank of the Mersey, by a little sort of amusement place, you know, a bit like a seaside resort, but on the banks of the Mersey. You know, your usual, if it had been open, because it was early in the morning, you know, your amusements, your hot dogs, burgers, rock, that sort of thing. You know, sort of like a almost inland seaside resort. I had to wait for the light to get up to take a picture with my throwaway 35mm camera, and I then went something like, I don't know if the order's quite right now, because it's 30 years, 29, 30 years. We went onwards under the Mersey, dropped a load of change at the booth at the Mersey. Well, I didn't need to pay anyway. That missed off a few people behind while I was picking it all up. And we ended up having a little Chef Olympic breakfast at, not far from Everton. Then we made our way to Malham Cove, a museum at Ulverston, South Lakes, more or less. Which was, I think it was Phil Cotton's motorcycle museum, and the beauty was you could actually buy many of the bikes there that were on display. And then it was St Mary's Island Lighthouse, that's sort of I think north of Newcastle upon Tyne. Then it was down to Yorkshire for the Mail and Spout Hotel near, trying to think now, I got it wrong then, Goathland. And then back home to the West Midlands, 643 miles in 16 and a half riding hours. And that was all done on 2 Olympic breakfasts and quite a bit of coffee, probably tea. And it was a good day out, really. Although I did not quite get it right, I didn't get the Mail and Spout in Goathland. It was I took a picture of the what was, if you remember folks, the Aidensfield stores in Heartbeat, the programme, but it was close enough and they did it me, and I suppose I was about 150, 200 yards out, I suppose, something like that. But yeah, a long time ago, but a good ride. And I think that was the most I'd done until, no, yeah, that is the most I've ever done. You know, just mosey along at your own pace and stop and have breaks here and there. And no heroics, just get on with it. Good ride, good ride. We ain't far off our turn. We've got to get to Waverton. Some good views over there. Yeah, A41 has some memories. Overall, I remember going to see, look at an original Triumph Daytona T595 with a then mate Brian, Grumpy Brian. It was Market Drayton, that was, and they wouldn't let us go out together. That put me in a bad mood. Of course, then I bought a T595, and that would put me in a really bad mood for about 2 years. Well, no, 14 months. What a load of junk. Thanks, pal. Yeah, just pull out, pretend I'm not there. Unfortunately, where we are going, I suppose this is a bit of a spoiler alert in one sense, it's not open on a Monday, to get right to it, and unfortunately today is Monday. But tomorrow I'm busy. Well, partly I'm going to have Michaela's chain adjusted, which will only be the second time in nearly 8,000 miles. Oh, hang on, no, we've just gone over 8,000. So we have a little beyond the service now, but we've just been pottering about on her really since the last RBR outing. But yeah, this is probably a last run, unless I can get the service done. I know what you're thinking, you're probably thinking, what, you're taking it in for a chain adjustment? Now, taking the wheel off, that's a different kettle of fish altogether, because I have not got a socket big enough for the nut on the rear wheel. But the reason why I'm taking her in for the chain adjustment is because I'm yet to get a paddock stand, single-sided style paddock stand. I used to have one for my Daytona. That might have worked. Probably changed the pin, but there we go. I've got the old type that I had for my last Daytona. Yeah, so he's going in tomorrow to see Lee. And we're going to see if we can bribe him with some bacon sandwiches. So he can fiddle a bit more with Michaela. We're after Egg Bridge Lane. Waverton, okay. It's somewhere here on the right. Okay, junction coming. I can see a brown sign. There's one there, you may have seen it. There's another one coming up here. It's the bottom one, the larger of the two. That's where we're going. Walk Mill. Now, if the place was open, we'd be going up to the calf and the mill, taking a picture of that. But because it's not, and they don't want people accessing the grounds, shall we say, and they're closed because the kids play out and all that. Aha, here we are. It's a shame we can't go to it, because it does look like a decent place to go and have a mosey around, and of course tea and cake. So we'll park up. Can't even see the mill from here, but I do have some information, and as usual you can find out more on the internet. Unfortunately, as I said, it's closed today, but needs must, you know, when you've got to fit in a visit between other things, you just have to take what you can take. So, as the clue said, there's been a mill on the site since 1200 AD. The current Walk Mill building is a recent build. The original mill was not a flour mill, but a fuller's mill. And I didn't know what that was other than fuller's beer. So I had a look, and it's basically a mill that was used to clean cloth, presumably prior to making into things like clothes. The name comes from Roman times. Jumping ahead to the 1960s, when the mill that was standing at the time was demolished after it had been occupied, all the way up to 1959. The recreated mill now has guided tours plus tea room and scenic walks, so worth another visit, I think. It's always windy when you have to take this thing together. I have to take it apart, which is always the case, because with that Webley and a panniers, we're always running on the light side of equipment, if you can call it that. Put your tape on the back so you can use it again. Right, that's that. But we're going back down the A41, and we're going to try this, I don't know what to call it really, but we'll find out when we get there exactly how we feel about it. It's the coffee shop cum cafe at Newport, just off the A41, Shropshire, that Nathan's always banging on about. So let's go and try it.